Hello there, neighborhood church. Hey, thanks for checking out today's Midweek Devotional. As we mentioned last Sunday, we are currently in a season celebrated by the Christian church throughout history. It's called Holy Week, and this is the week leading up to Jesus' arrest, execution on the cross, and resurrection from the grave that we celebrate on Easter Sunday. Now, each day has a different reflection on a moment from the last week of Jesus' life. Now, last Sunday, we explored Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem, arriving as the long-awaited, unexpected, and ultimately rejected King. This weekend, we'll meditate on the cross on Good Friday. And then, of course, we're going to party together to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus on Easter Sunday. But for today, we're going to take a moment to explore what the ancient church refers to as Holy Wednesday. On Holy Wednesday, we look back at two stories. Two individuals and two wildly different responses to Jesus. The first reflection is on Mary of Bethany, a follower of Jesus. The second, on Judas Iscariot, the infamous betrayer of Jesus. The contrast between these two individuals gives us food for thought, even today, as we reflect on our own response to Jesus. Let's take a quick look at these two stories. First, let's open up Matthew's biography of Jesus, where he writes the following. While Jesus was in Bethany in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. Mary anoints Jesus with costly perfume, an ancient act of devotion, a ceremonial recognition of Jesus' royalty as king. Now we read that the disciples actually rebuke this woman, but Jesus embraces her act of worship and says it will be remembered for all time wherever the good news is shared. You see, Mary embraced Jesus as king. Her response to Jesus was love and loyalty. Now, let's read the next story for Holy Wednesday. Matthew writes this story immediately following Mary's, and this isn't a coincidence, it's intentional. Take a look. Then, one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver, and from then on Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. Judas, a disciple, agrees to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, which equals around 100 days' wages for an average worker. I mean, this is certainly nothing to scoff at, but it's not exactly a windfall of cash either. Now, this betrayal is what would ultimately lead to Jesus' arrest and execution. And you might be wondering, how could Judas turn his back on Jesus like this? How could he sell out his master, who he had followed for years? I mean, Judas saw the miracles, he heard the teaching, but in the end, he gave it all up for 30 pieces of silver. Judas rejected Jesus. Now, many scholars believe Judas expected Jesus to lead a political revolution, to overthrow Rome. And when it turned out Jesus was not a conquering king of power and might, rather a humble king of divine love, Judas, like so many others, gave up on Jesus. On Holy Wednesday, we reflect on two individuals, two responses, the way of Judas and the way of Mary. The way of Judas says Jesus is a means to an end. I'll follow Jesus as long as I get what I want, as long as he meets my needs the way I define them. Then there's the way of Mary. Jesus is the end. Jesus is king. Jesus is ultimate. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. When Mary poured that perfume on Jesus, she gave everything she had, both figuratively and literally too. On the other hand, Judas turned against Jesus for a relatively small price. Now, here's the point. Devotion to Jesus takes everything we have. It's costly, but it's the path to real life. Life abundant, as Jesus says. It's worth every penny. But rejection, while it may pay off in the short term, it's a long-term loss. We can spend our 30 pieces of silver and have nothing left to show for it at the end of the day. Or we can take everything we have and lay it at the feet of Jesus and step into this vibrant, flourishing, entirely new way of being. Friends, that's the message of Holy Wednesday. And I hope you'll continue to reflect with us throughout Holy Week at ncvisalia.com/discuss. At the bottom of the page, we've posted a fantastic Holy Week devotional created by some friends of ours. Definitely check it out if you have some time this week. Otherwise, we hope to see you this weekend for Good Friday and Easter Sunday. Take care.